everybody. Welcome. I'm the Wizard of Ops. Welcome to Market Moves. I guess the intro didn't happen, but all right, whatever. All right, welcome. I first wanted to read a quick thing about what's been going on over the past week. So a couple weeks ago on Monday, July 28th in 2025, one of the vendors involved with Volland took control of our backend servers and made Volland as a whole unavailable. But on Tuesday, they were court ordered to restore the website, and then on Friday, it was finally at least somewhat available. But this is a legal matter, so I can't really discuss more in public. You know, maybe a month or two or something like that, we could have Volland, the shutdown documentary or whatever. I don't know, 30 for 30. I don't know. So instead, though, I will talk about current market because this is OPEX week, right? And there we go. This is OPEX week. So we have a lot to talk about. I talked on Friday when Volland came back up. I talked on Friday how we were looking at a 6,400 pin. And this is why. If I take a look at this week right here, this is extraordinarily high Vanna right here. So I could expect some bullishness. It's overall, it's very high. It's, about 7 billion in Vanna. So I could expect some bullishness up to 6,400. And then we shot up, I guess 50 points on Friday to right next to that area. So, this is probably what we're going to see for a while. However, tomorrow is also CPI. CPI has not been a big market mover recently, but with the unemployment report being so poor, if CPI pops, right, we're actually expecting higher CPI for this week, but if it pops and is hotter than what we expect, something like 2.9, 3.0, that puts the Fed in a squeeze position, right? Because that would be stagflation, right? Employment coming down and inflation going up. That puts the Fed in a rough spot, right? And everybody wants this September cut. And if we see a pop in CPI or inflation overall, then we are not going to get a September cut, right? Inflation is more important than employment. Powell said that several times. So, and we're not seeing a lot of event fall for tomorrow. So I guess the market doesn't see this as a big deal. But there is, again, I'm going to go to this week's thing. There is a lot of hedging right here. Starting at 63.85, there's quite a bit of hedging down to 63.65 for this week. And if I look at starting next week and going into the end of September, right here, you're going to see still a ton of hedging down to the 62.70 area right here, right? This area right here is what I would expect to be kind of support going into the September OPEX. So we're looking kind of good from an option standpoint, even though from a macro standpoint, we're not looking great. In order to see a real drop and you want to see a vol event again, like we did not last Friday, but the Friday before, if we want to see that, then we're going to have to probably come down here, break 6,300, and that's when we'll really start to see a ramp up in VIX compared to SPX. But that is not that far. That's only 100 points, right? And that's if we do drop and we pass the 62, 65, this plateau area right here, it could start getting very dicey, and we could see a larger scale drop, and we'll see a lot of puts being bought, hopefully, right down, in this area. I don't think that'll necessarily happen. I do need to see a break of 6,300 before we see something like that, some kind of catastrophic drop. On the other side, this is a very strong positive Vanna environment, right? Over September through the end of September, this is 6.3 billion and this is 15.6 billion. So that's about 22 billion in 1 month. So I think in September, there's a chance that we can draw closer to this 6,500 area. It's possible. And almost, I would say, from the options perspective, it is the most likely outcome is a rise up here, not very quick rise, but it'll be a rise, maybe kind of whipsawing above 6,400 to get to 6,500. And so that seems to be on a swing basis, not on a day trading basis, but on a swing basis, that seems to be the next step. Okay. So that is what I see in SPX. Now, I'd like to give a very special shout out. I'm not going to dox her or anything like that. But when I went to the grocery store this weekend, my bagger had told me that she was an avid watcher of the Market Move show. Unfortunately, Jay isn't here. We could have talked about that. I mean, he lives closer to me, so we could go to the same supermarket. We could make an appearance and do signings. I don't know. That'd be funny. But she requested, as she was bagging my groceries, to have a look at Amazon. So let's check out some Amazon. Vanna here. She has calls in Amazon, and she wanted to know what the outlook is. So let's check it out, and then I'll get to your comments. All right. So Amazon's actually not looking too bad. I mean, it looks like it can draw up along with the rest of the market. Unfortunately, it also looks like Amazon has no put support. I mean, it looks like maybe here in 220, you might have some put support. The move that she told me she had was she bought some calls in Amazon. I think up here in like this 240 area. I don't know if she's a sub, but 240, according to Volland, seems to be a really good area. 230 to 240 right here. So I think that, yeah, your position is not too bad. I think it was for September, she said. So, yeah, I would join you on that. I mean, 240, 235, 240 here in Amazon. That looks pretty good. Yeah. And the gamma is quite negative though. So I guess that means that, quite negative in puts, and then in calls, it's quite positive. So, yeah, Amazon doesn't have a lot of put traffic though. So I think, a lot of people seem to be selling puts here in Amazon as well as selling calls. So it seems like there's a lot of premium sellers in Amazon. So be careful with some whipsaw, which also means long gamma, which means that your 240 put or 240 call is probably a good move, especially if you're bullish on Amazon. So small vol correlation is pretty good as well. So I mean, this definitely has an impact on Amazon stock. So. Yeah, well done. Yeah, keep your call, and yeah, we'll go. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I tell you, I don't feel like a superstar ever, pretty much. And but when somebody told me she was an avid watcher and wondered where I was last week, I was thinking, oh my gosh, it's pretty funny. All right, so Johannes says, what do I think of a 6450, 6500 for September OPEX? Ooh, that's a broken wing butterfly. You can see that's broken wing because the 6500 is the center. 6570 is a larger spread than 6450. What do I think of it for September OPEX? I like it, but I would put it higher because if we go up to 6,500 very fast, then you're going to end up with red on your screen and you're going to be nervous. So I would probably keep those same dimensions if you want, but but center it around like 65.35, 65.40, something like that. All right. Qualcomm earnings last week. Any thoughts? What does Vanna say? Well, let's check out what Vanna says on Qualcomm. I don't have any thoughts. I don't do much as far as fundamental goes. But let's check it out. All right. So yeah, I'll actually look at Qualcomm, like what was the reaction that Qualcomm had. Um, oh, and then you know what? I apologize. I should definitely step through Dark Matter's trade plan. He had a trade plan, and I will step through that after I go through these few comments. Let's see. All right. So Qualcomm last week looks like it shot up, huh? Um, oh no, it shot down. Thursday, July 31st, went from around 162 down to 148. So that dropped considerably. However, it looks like what a lot of people did. Yeah, you see, so this is one of those examples that, um, when we saw Amazon before, and I'll go back to Amazon because I want to, it would be kind of like a um, it would be like a earnings kind of outlook. See all this Vanna up here. People are selling calls very heavily, and aggregate Vanna is very positive, right? So that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing for Amazon. It shows, a lot of bullish impulse, right? But you see, there is nothing down here for put support, right? In fact, puts are being sold at 200, 205. So if something bad happens to Amazon, the floor is, there is no limit on the floor. It's probably, this area here, 170, 170, 170 to 180 maybe. But this area, we'll drop past 200 very fast. So that seems to be like what happened with Qualcomm, because I see a lot of positive Vanna up here. There's like this big negative strike. That's a put. So there was some put support there. You can tell right here, but there is not, in general, Qualcomm does not have much support down here. You're not going to get maybe a little bit of 145, but really there's nothing down to 135, 130. This whole area right here looks like they sold a lot of calls prepping for this earnings, and and then drop, right? I don't know what this traffic is for this week. I don't think Qualcomm's going to reach 12 or something like that. I don't know. This kind of seems a little off, but so I mean, I think that that's one of the things, especially with Amazon. That's why I kind of support like the long gamma, call there, 240 call in Amazon, because if it drops off, you have a fixed risk, and if it drops to oblivion, you're okay, right? You only lost that risk that you put on that call. So for Qualcomm, I would have suggested something similar, maybe, depending on where, I guess it started in the 160s, which is like right around this area. I mean, you would have had limited upside to 180, but that's the default, right? More likely, but limited. And if the earnings turned out poor, it would have dropped off the face of the earth, and it still could drop off the face of the earth, even though it's been a week and we've kind of like, whipsawed in the same area here. It could still drop off. I mean, there's nothing stopping it. Nobody bought puts, and that, as if I were a Qualcomm shareholder, I would be scared of that. So, all right, next comment. Yes, Fang, I will bring that up. Johannes, my thesis is 650 will pin on a swing basis, since it would make Vanna for September OPEX negative when crossed. If it's crossed quick, I could hedge it. Could you go in more detail why higher center? Okay. This is only for a broken wing butterfly, and I'll talk about it while I bring up the trade plan. So this is just for a broken wing butterfly, and the reason why is because personally, in my own kind of trade planning, I like to sell off-center butterflies and off-center calendars. I sell them when I'm sorry, excuse me. I sell them when the whatchamacallit, when the Sorry, I'm doing two things at once. I shouldn't be doing this. I sell them when you're delta neutral, right? And so that's like when your P&L, like your slope equals 0, right? Delta neutral. The reason why I do that is, and then on either side, I'm expecting movement. And, when you're at delta neutral, you want no movement. So that's usually what my trade plan is. Delta neutral on a broken wing butterfly is off center. It's not and on the center of the fly. And if you get up to 6,500 and for some reason we pass it just a little bit, your thesis may even be right. Like we're near 6,500. You're at 6,525 or something like that. That's only 25 points. Yet you're losing, and you're losing hard. So that's the reason why I tend to like to put my center of a broken wing butterfly higher than my thesis level so that it gives me a little bit more forgiveness, right? And typically, like a broken wing butterfly, I will close that before I do anything. So anyway, I do want to try to full screen this before I do this. I don't want everybody to. Yeah, no, not yet. Not yet. How do I hide this? All right. I just have to figure out my settings real quick. Sorry. I wasn't expecting to do this. I should have expected to do it, so I apologize. It's a yeah, I gotta like take off. I don't want everybody to see every single channel I'm in and all that junk. So hold on. I'm trying to I gotta learn how to full screen this. Does anybody oh, maybe I can want to hide the member list. Yeah, I want to do that. I want to, how do I put this post? Anyway, so yeah, let me see if there's a question I can answer before. All right. Well, I'll read it for now because I don't want everybody to see like all the rooms I'm in and stuff like that. I'm trying to put it in full. I put it in full view, but full view doesn't take out like all the channels. So, all right. And this is from Captain Wick. So Jay is on holiday, on vacation, and yeah. So I'm kind of looking at Captain Wick. He has August is pressing against July's high and closed the week just under it. Yeah, so he likes he on the monthly he likes buyers. He thinks that we're going up to 580 on QQQ. That's Captain Wick deals with QQQ a lot more than SPX or anything like that. Jay, like I said, is on vacation, so he didn't do his trade plan. But yeah, I'm looking at what he has, and he kind of he's seeing like the same kind of overall thing that I kind of saw. Like the default is going up, but there are dangers to the downside. He thinks that if we were to climb above 574.63 on QQQ, we're heading toward 580 pretty quickly. Yeah, so he's kind of looking at his aggregate Vanna. He's seeing negative Vanna at 570, so that's kind of his support, it looks like. And positive gamma there at 570 because that means people are selling calls. I'll look at QQQ right after this. But yeah, I think next time I'll be more prepared to show you this. I don't know how to take out or how to hide all the channels that I'm in, all that kind of stuff, and I don't want to do that to people. So I mean, I'm in a lot of like rooms that I probably don't even pay attention to. So it's kind of yeah, sorry, Fang. Come on into the Discord. and write to me on the general channel, and I'll help you out there. Maybe Jay can help you out. So copy it into a Word document. I mean, I could guess I could do that. I mean, then it looks weird when I do that. Sorry, Johannes. I tried. But yeah, so that's what I have. Yeah, so just do the Fang, come on into the Discord channel. I'll help you out. Okay. And that's all I got. I mean, if anybody else wants to, come on into the Discord, check it out. And yeah, I mean, it's still, again, just as a quick review, my SPX position is expecting a 6,400 pin, probably at least until Wednesday. Tomorrow is underpriced as far as like event vol goes. But the problem is that Vanna is very supportive on both sides. So if it would have to be extremely hot, or actually extremely hot, period, in order to see significant movement in either direction. So essentially, like from a macro perspective, it's underpriced, but from an option perspective, it's probably correctly priced. So just be careful. I'd be very careful trading tomorrow. So thank you very much. And oh wait, we have one more. Johanna says, quick thing. What do you think about the missing put support for this OPEX? I presume you're talking about Amazon, because there is a lot of put support for this OPEX. Are you talking about August or September? I guess, if you're talking about August, there's plenty of put support for this OPEX. So September, we'll have to see. I think that we'll see some more, some more put support later on. But yeah, it's a lot less. So we could see a little bit of a drop in the beginning of September, starting next week, could see a little bit of a drop. But I do think that 6,400 is our pin. Yeah, so Fang, come on in to the Discord. I'll help you out with the trade plan. Johanna says in August there are almost no put support. Okay, let me share again. Let me see. All right. So yeah, if I'm looking over here, I see plenty. Hold on. So next week I see nothing, but this week, I see plenty. And right here, I see plenty of put support right here. So starting at 63.65, 63.85 to 63.65 it's got quite a bit of support. That's almost 3 billion for 1 week. That's a lot, Johannes. Yeah. So I see a lot of put support here for the week. So all right. Thank you, everybody. And Johanna says that's all calls. All right, let me check it out. So you're telling me that people are buying in the money calls? All right, let me look again. Sorry. I'm signing. I was sitting there trying to sign off, and I guess I can't, because it's a good right here. So you're telling me that people are buying calls, in the money calls, for this week. That would be interesting. Man, you're right. These are all calls. People are buying in the money calls. That's very interesting. I'll have to think about that, because that's That is very interesting. So if people are buying in the money calls, because that's positive Vanna. That means people have so that means people are bought in the money calls down to here. That's weird. Yeah, I'll have to think about that, Johannes. We'll go on the Discord. We'll talk about it. Okay. I gotta think about that because that is definitely weird that it's not puts that they bought, they're calls that they bought. I guess delta hedging, it would be down. Yeah, so give me some time to think about that. The fact that they're calls instead of puts that's significant. I'll have to think about that, Johannes. All right, thank you, everybody. And yeah, it is very weird. Augustine throwing throwing a monkey wrench into my sign off. All right, we'll do a quick look at IWM. I like to go here for stuff like this. Let's change ticker. Every time I think I'm getting off, and then I have to work overtime now, right? All right, so IWM looks like there's a lot of puts being, but wow, there's a lot of support here. Not as many calls up here. So it looks like, I mean, it looks like IWM could fall, but there is a lot of support here. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so I think my pick would be for IWM would be we're not going to move very much, maybe drop a little bit. Yeah, I think IWM, you probably want to sell premium in IWM. Yeah, so that would be I don't think IWM will move much. You're looking at a rotation out of like the tech because there is a very poor breadth right now. You're looking for rotation into IWM, I'm sure, and you could get that up to about 230. But overall, my look, there's a lot of support here, but not a lot of call selling up here. So I would actually suggest IWM would barely move. So that would be a premium selling kind of thing if you're into RUT and IWM. So, all right, thank you very much, everybody. Take care, and may Volland help you in your future trading ventures.